Hello everybody. We have another rapid speedrun game against Faisal Yaqub, rated 929. He opens up with e4, staking claim in the center. We go d6, controlling a dark square in the center. He develops a minor piece towards the center. What's the threat? There is none. What's the drawback? It's not its most active square. So we're just going to continue our development towards the center with a threat on the e4 pawn, so we're developing for free. We love free. So now he moves the same piece twice to the center. But what do I say about moving the same piece twice before moving your other pieces once? You can do it if it comes with a threat or it's for free. In this case, there's no threat. It's not for free. He wasted his turn on it. Now we get to go. Well, this knight is asking to be kicked with a pawn move in the center. So like we want to play e5 anyway, right? This is our Philidor setup, and now we get to do it for free because it comes with a tempo on the knight. So center and development. And now he moves it a third time. 3 knight moves in the first 4 moves has to be completely terrible, right? I'm not talking about the Alekines, but I guess it kind of applies. Anyway, so he goes here. You could snatch it off if you want. You could probably even kick it with g6 if you want. But for the time being, there's no need to do any of that. You do have a hanging pawn in the center, so I do want to take it. I think central pawns are important to take if the opponent doesn't have checks against your king. Here he does have checks, but these 3 checks that he had, 2 of them hang the knight, the other one is easily met by c6. But now he puts his queen here. This check doesn't matter because again c6, so it's not a threat, but he is threatening my knight, which is hanging. The drawback of his move is his knight's hanging, which also defends my knight. If his knight wasn't hanging, like let's say it was protected, you don't want to do something like d5, which may look good otherwise, because you get the center, it defends the knight. Because once he kicks that knight with a pawn, you have to move that pawn, and then the queen takes your center with check. So you got to be careful. Anyway, I took his knight, and now he kicks my bishop, trying to disconnect these 2 pieces. However, I'm just going to retreat and keep the connection. And now I'm up 4 points of material. He kicks my knight with the pawn. So as not to lose my knight, I want to move it. You could move it here, but I don't want the knight blocking the f file for 2 reasons. One, I want to have my queen to have potential on this diagonal, and 2, I think I want to play f5 at some point, gaining space for my rook that will be behind it. So in light of that, I'm going to move my knight here, and if he attacks it again, I'm going to park it on e6, which is a beautiful square hitting the center as well as the f4 square. So he just develops the knight, and if he doesn't hit my knight, I'm going to leave it here, right? I don't want to move the same piece before I move the other ones. So he moves the knight. It's just a nice developing move. We also want to develop, so let's develop our knight, right? To its most natural square towards the center, and it looks at the important squares that hits the queen. So white jumps his knight into the center. What does this threaten? Absolutely nothing. It doesn't coordinate because he's not developed. So the drawback is he's moving the same piece twice before developing these once. So you could just develop, right? Normal stuff. But, you could put your queen here, your bishop here. But I'm going to improve a piece for free because it's for free. I can always develop after that, and I didn't waste any time. What am I talking about? Knight d4. Unlike his knight jump, mine does come with a threat. Mine is for free. His is not. Now his queen has to move, and then now that it moved, I have so many So many good moves. First of all, he moves here, which blocks his bishop. Not good. Second of all, he's walking into a triple fork, a royal fork at that, losing the queen. Let's say he moved his queen to a more reasonable square where it doesn't hang. Because we moved our knight into the center, we now have that move we love to play in the Philidor, c6, controlling the center, booting the knight, and now we just, on our side of the board, we would have a beautiful position. In this case, we might as well take the queen. And, you know, we don't even get to castle in these games because it doesn't last that long. We would love to castle, but we're just going to take a queen instead. Okay, so now we're up a queen. I know there's free stuff, but all of you guys who take every little single thing that's free and you'll hop your knight 1,000 times just to pick up whatever is free, like, if it's a free piece, fine, but if it's a pawn and you're up a queen, don't take the pawn. Please develop. I'm just going to pick the most active move I see. Queen here probably touches more squares than any other move I could make in my opponent's camp. I guess you could, this touches a lot, but he'll just take it. Again, I want to bring in new pieces, so. You know, and in a position like this, for example, my E pawn and my D pawn, I would like to pick them up and throw them off the board. If that was the case, I could just long castle, and in one move, my D rook would be staring right at his king. And so you have to understand what pawns are really good for. You don't just want them, you know, period, end of story. No, definitely not. They can absolutely hinder your own piece activity. So he moves his king over to try to protect this pawn, I assume. Okay, it comes with a check. So it's for free. His king is looking awfully boxed in. I just want to checkmate it to end this game. He's going for like cheapos with the same knight he moved 1,000 times. Long castle, protects the pawn, gets another piece in the game. I really wish I could throw these pawns off the board. That way I can develop my bishop freely, and my rooks would be open. It would be so nice. But as you can see, my pawns are a hindrance. They're in the way. So let's sack them. I don't care about the best move. I don't care about calculating. I'm just going to launch my pawn up as far as I can until he takes it so it's not there anymore. Okay, now I was going to do that, but of course that does hang your bishop, so you don't just want to give him a piece like that. So I'm just going to move it, and then I'm going to sack my pawn. I also want to sack my D pawn. I want to sack everything. So I'm just going to push them both up the board until he takes them. Okay, he's just hopping his knight around 1,000 times. I'm going to develop for free with a check. Now my rooks are connected. He's hitting my bishop, so we don't, you know, we don't want to give him back the turn by retreating. So we just take it, take this with check, and the game is, of course, has always been over. And we're not going to really get to use our rooks because the pawns are in the way, and he's going to get mated quickly with the queen, the bishop, and potentially these pawns. You can always go c5, attack the knight. He could try to, well, not anymore. So he moves his king here, but this looks suspicious. Let's just give him another king, come a little close, another king, another check. He could go here, which hits the bishop, but I'm gonna do that because now his king is in this box, and so I have to have like pawn checkmates, and pawn checkmates are always cool, so let's find some pawn checkmates. If I go here, he has to go here, but then my a pawn hangs. So if I go here and he goes here, and then I check him with a pawn and he goes here, and then I can check him with the queen, but that's not a pawn checkmate. That's a queen checkmate. Can I get a pawn checkmate? I guess you still have to go here, but then your a pawn always falls. I guess you could if you took the time to do that, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to checkmate him with the queen. Fine, you made me do it. Okay, so there's a checkmate. His king's all the way on a6. That's pretty hilarious. So let's go through the game. We have center and development. We have development and center. I don't remember if I commented on the video about taking this pawn. No idea what I said. But anyway. Okay, center and development for free. He has to move it, and now you can take. Okay, maybe I mentioned it, don't remember. But anyway, free stuff. So, free stuff. And then free stuff. You're obviously not hanging a piece. Not hanging a piece. And then, once the forcing moves stop, we're back to the principles, right? Develop, center. And still principled, improving piece for free. Improve a piece for free. And then just blundering tactics, queens, tactics over everything. He loses the game quickly, just like that. This was a super easy game. This guy kind of just hung everything from the opening. He played terribly. Notes for you guys, don't put your knight here. Put it where it belongs on f3. Like, that's a simple thing. From now on in your games, don't put it here. If you make that one change, you're a better chess player. There you go. You're welcome. Submit your rapid games to my Discord. Like, comment, subscribe. Goodbye.